We're going to bring in Fox News contributor and forensic pathologist, Dr. Michael Baden. Doctor, thank you for being with us this morning. And I first want to go to the evidence side of this. You know, are you at all concerned about how much time has gone by? We're at the 8-day mark as far as collecting evidence. And also at the same time, you talk a lot about fingerprints and if there were gloves. It really doesn't matter if somebody had gloves on or not, because they would still be able to track somebody down potentially with that.
If there was blood being spread around. However, DNA especially can be gotten by just touch DNA if a person isn't wearing gloves, or by the person cutting himself on the bloody knife that he's stabbing people with, or by the fingernail scraping from the persons who received defensive wounds, who may have scratched the individual and gotten some of his DNA under their fingernails. So the fingernail scratching DNA they would have already from the autopsies. If there was a sexual assault, which there wasn't, they would have that from the autopsy, and could have been working on it from the day of the autopsy. And all they need is about 24 hours to get some DNA out if it's there. But at the scene, they'd have to be looking for blood from the perpetrator or touch DNA if he wasn't wearing gloves. They haven't said anything about glove wearing. Of course, if he's wearing gloves, you can tell whether it's workers' gloves, whether it's surgical gloves. And at the same time, it would give an idea that there was some pre-planning to the assault if he had gotten gloves before the assault. So there's a lot of information they have that they haven't given us. They haven't even given us the information as to where the bodies were found. They said they were found in bed, which would indicate that they had gone to bed, were sleeping. And if there were a targeted DNA, as Ted Williams has expressed on DNA, and I think he's right, then there'd be one person that he was after, and the other persons may be collateral damage, but not everybody, because two people who were in there were not harmed.
In your experience in cases like this, are police releasing so little information because they don't want to tip off the killer or killers that they're getting close to finding them, or do they legitimately not have answers to the questions that we're raising on our show and on other shows?
Yeah, very good question from you. Traditionally, police don't like to release all the information. They don't want to alert the bad guys to what they know and don't know. The problem now is that there's so much group sourcing, social sourcing, what's going on, that an awful lot of information is coming from people who are watching the show and see things, or people who know some of the decedents, or the parents. So there's a lot of different sources coming out for information. And the one thing that the press conference yesterday gave, very little, but they gave that some of the information that are coming out is not valid. So, but in general, the police like to hold on to things. Although when one sees a week later that they're looking at tire marks, there's a little concern there, because tire marks change in the week. You know, weather conditions. Also, they came out with that some other people were there before the police were called. That is that odd thing that at the press conference that said, well, one of the girls' phones was used, but they don't know who used it, and they indicate that there might have been other people there using her phone to call the police. Makes it also very confusing. So a lot of confusing information is coming out from the police also. And
then what can we conclude just solely based on the coroner's report that you see?
Well, so far with the coroner should know if there was somebody who was more viciously attacked than the others. You know, somebody who might have been a target, and the others wake up, and he gets rid of the ones who can identify him. Gives the impression that they were killed by somebody they knew. Otherwise, why would he kill everybody? And the two people who weren't killed were people who didn't see him. So it sounds like it could be something internal, but we don't know. We don't know. You know, usually you have love, hate, money, the kinds of things that cause murders. Here, there's been more information that the police have that they're not giving out, and some information that's been confusing.
It's a sad, tragic, horrible situation. Hopefully we get to the bottom of it, and soon for the sake of those families. Dr. Michael Baden, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.